better call somebody!
You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE.
Give me a hell yeah!
Now, let's meet the host. Kyle Gagliardi.
The face that runs the place.
Jim Tucker. And Erica Marini.
I'm the boss. I'm the blueprint. I'm the standard.
Well, I think we've had enough talk. It's time for the main event.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky!
What's going on, Gags? We have not streamed since WrestleMania. We have things to talk about.
A lot to talk about. Like, obviously, WrestleMania Night 2. We covered Night 1 on last week's Sunday shoot without Erica Marini. And here we are again, the Sunday, the week after WrestleMania. Still no Erica Marini, Tuck.
Well, she's the boss. She's the blueprint. She is a former NVM champion as well. She is the standard. And sometimes as the boss, the blueprint, the standard, sometimes some things come up, and I would feel bad if we tried to guilt her out of missing a brunch, especially Sunday brunches hit different. We can both attest to that. So we'll be seeing her soon. You know, probably. Well, next week I have a game, but the week after is that off day. I'll probably be shooting on location in Salt Lake City or something like that. So I need to pay attention to that, how I travel that, but it's gonna be great.
My mom's checking in early. She told me she has to go in at work at noon, so she wanted to say hello right off the gate. Yep.
Donna coming in hot. Got to respect it. Good morning, Donna. Have fun at work.
She said she looks forward to your reaction every time she says hello because you get very excited.
She's the greatest. If she wasn't, I think my reaction is hopefully an indication of who she is as a person, aside from being your mom. She's also Ryan's mom. So that's a big up. And Ryan had a big weekend. Why don't we chat about that?
Yeah. So if you don't know, my brother turned 32. He's got Down syndrome. So he's a big wrestling fan. The reason I'm into professional wrestling is because I saw him watching in 2011. I think I told this story before, and he was watching it, and then I was hooked. And that's how it is. So we bond through that, and I was able to spend some money on him this year, as we talked a little bit before we hit that record button. Since I got a new position, I got promoted. So I splurged a little bit. It took me about 3 different Walmarts because he likes hard copies. He doesn't do the digital downloads. He likes to physically have the case, you know?
Respect. Absolutely.
He's got a mad collection of like DVDs and video games. So I made sure I got the hard copy of WWE 2K22, copped that for him, got an RK Bro shirt, as you could see him wearing on social media, for his birthday party. And I also got him one of these, the off-centered Mr. OTM t-shirts that are now available. So I spent a good amount of money on him, but I think it was well deserved.
And I forgot about the RK Bro shirt. I was kind of pumped after the game. 1 shirt and the video game, 2 t-shirts, a video game. You know, a kid like Ryan deserves it. He is how wrestling fandom should be. He just enjoys the product. Right. Mm-hmm. When he watches a show, Ryan straps it on, right? He locks in and he goes for the ride, when many of us, I think we do more questioning than enjoying sometimes. And we have a podcast, so that's kind of a lens that we look through, but Ryan is wrestling fandom in a nutshell. So excited for him. He's got a shirt that I want, the RK Bro shirt. I haven't pulled the trigger.
That's a nice t-shirt. Like we talk about like black shirts, like some of them are terrible, but this is one that I think we can all agree it's a sharp looking t-shirt.
And now after WrestleMania, with them holding the tag titles, the Usos maybe looking at Raw, it's like, how long will an RK Bro shirt be relevant before it's put to the side. I don't know how long RK Bro is going to be together, so I don't know. It's exciting.
Yeah, you don't want to do it like maybe when they produced those Y2 AJ shirts back in the day when Jericho and AJ teamed for I think 2 weeks, and then they split them up right away. But they printed those T-shirts; those were a thing.
The next conversation I have to have is Dad's coming with us to Hell in a Cell. I got to figure out what shirt to get him because I think he leans more towards babyface. I think in my dad's eyes, a guy like Roman Reigns, he's like, I just, that reaction of like, there's just something about him I don't like. Yeah. When you and I, we are front row on the bus. Yeah. So I've got to figure out who's modern now that wasn't really a part of our fandom 20 years ago that I think he would get behind, because I'm trying to surprise him and he's going to watch this probably. So it's coming if you have any suggestions, Dad. But yeah, we'll see. We got to figure that out, but I'm excited. We've got a lot of scheduling coordination to do. We got a summer ahead of us. What shirt would Kubaki wear?
Shit, that's a great question.
Who Damian Priest?
Maybe
Edgy.
Edge.
I'm trying to
like maybe just Edge himself.
Yeah, he would definitely. He's a classic guy. He would definitely be interested in Johnny Hungy in the Dark Order. I
could see it.
Maybe a House of Black kind of guy. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of options. I mean, you could even go to our website on the markwrestlingpodcast.com and get some merchandise there. I fixed this shirt design. Obviously, I don't think anybody else is going to go buy it. As you can see, though, it prints very well. Like, that's solid for just a t-shirt
and they printed it exactly as you put it down on that template. They're not even trying to center it for us and help a dude out. They don't care. There are companies like when you put in orders that will click it together, but because of the platform that we use, they're printing it exactly as we lay it down. So thankfully we got some samples, but yeah, the tech in the printing industry has improved. They have like t-shirt printers. You put one in, it's like a inkjet printer. So I'm glad that the colors of that
can get a back angle. Can you get a back angle? Do we see it?
Yo, yeah. Oh, we see it. You don't have to be so hunched. Actually, taller might be better. Okay, got it.
Well, that was too much effort. My back was starting to hurt. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 29 in 2 months. Can you believe it?
Man, you're about to be old.
Are there shirts of Tuck? Would Tuck want that? We do have the picture.
I have no desire to have a shirt. What am I going to put on top of it? The guy that hasn't won in a year? Like,
I feel like it has been about that long since you won a title there, Tuck.
If I go back, I need to go back and do career records again. Spend a Sunday afternoon doing that. Since we've got a lot more shows now, so I need to go back and update the career records too. I have them. So yeah, what's up? Let's chat.
Yeah, so go get some merch. We'll have a coupon code the week before Backlash. Like you brought this up last week, I believe, that we should probably do pay-per-view discount code. I like that idea. So we're going to do that. I'll let everybody know what that code will be when we get closer. But if you want to get some merch now, go to that website down below right there. And shout out to the brand new OTM pay-per-view champion. I was finally dethroned this time by Ryan Matthews, a guy that has a lot to say on social media nowadays.
Hey, he's a young man. He's exercising the right to free speech, using his voice. Yeah, good kid. And it was nice to mix it up. So he's got some challenges coming in. Maybe we throw the promo code on the Google form. So when you fill out your picks,
good idea.
That's how you get, or we just give them a bigger code or something like that. So that, but we had a great turnout for WrestleMania in the first year that we did an open one. I think we had 16 of us in there, or 15 of us total. So
good number.
The more the merrier, because at the end of the day, when Kyle loses, the pay-per-view grade goes up. You feel better when you go to sleep at night. It just feels a little bit more complete. So we got to stack the box, as you would say in football, right?
Yeah, and if we want to use more, that is a term. And if we want to use more sports terms, I guess you could compare me losing to like a Duke basketball losing, that just somebody universally everybody wants to root against. But I'll take the Duke basketball comparisons because that's a historic program.
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't quite see that coming, but hats off to North Carolina. Yeah. The best part was the birds aren't real sign. So that's what
stole the show for the national championship. And I
Did
hate how
blue
that
check
was going
all
head to
around
head with the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. We had not only WrestleMania Night 1 was going head to head with the Final Four, so I pulled up another TV. And then we had the Monday where the national championship was going on at the same time, which was the first time apparently that WrestleMania actually went head to head with college basketball, which is probably a bold move on Vince's half.
Yeah, and certainly, maybe that played into how well they booked the show. I was impressed. So, hopefully next year we're backed off a little bit. I'm still looking at a calendar, figuring out a way to make it happen.
I've already put out the feelers and everything and warned the old Vegas group that I probably won't be going next year. So I'm fully putting my chips into the middle for a Los Angeles WrestleMania, which would be a pricey one. But hey, you only do WrestleMania once or twice, right?
Yeah, until it for me, the Los Angeles WrestleMania is the closest one. I can drive to that one. Unless they do it in Vegas, I can't really drive to other ones with the cities that they kind of look at. But there was they need to bring it back to Indianapolis. I won't back down from that.
I saw it kind of get some momentum, and I think Pat McAfee had a lot to do with that, because now there's kind of an in there. If somebody nudges Pat and it's like, hey, tell Vince that like Indy, like it's the hub of everything. It's done Final Fours. We've talked about it before on this show. It just makes sense. And it's in the Midwest, in the middle of the, what do they call it? The heartland of America right there. Yeah, come on. Makes sense.
The city is literally connected. It's built. You could go, and if the weather stunk, you wouldn't have to go outside. So, and we know like they like their attendance numbers, but it's not like they weren't even close to saying or announcing the 100,000 mark. I don't think AT&T Stadium can hold 100,000 anymore. I think they've reconfigured and added more suites and brought it down to 85 to 90,000 anyways. Yeah. When you do 2-night events, you're still selling more than you ever would, because if you would go on their reported numbers, it was 150,000 tickets sold. And if you go on WrestleTix numbers, that's over 130,000 tickets sold. So there's not a building in the country that can hold 130,000. You're still making money. And I think Indianapolis would be a great place for it. If you put 65, that place can hold 65 or 70, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So there's your 140,000 tickets. The crazy thing, they made more money off of Crown Jewel than they did off of both nights of WrestleMania.
That's insane to think about.
They get a $50 million check right before the first pyro goes off in Saudi, and that puts you in perspective how important those shows are. Yeah, like, okay, gripe about them. I love the morning shows. If we can keep that a Saturday morning, wake up, cook on the Blackstone, watch some wrestling, and then have the rest of your day to do anything, great. But that shows you how real that Saudi money is. They ran a 2-day WrestleMania, and they're not even close. It's not close to the 50 million up front. So there's that.
It's interesting too. This morning, I actually got a text from David Kepshire, and he was like, I was talking with my buddy last night at the bar, and we were curious. And he goes, how much do you think WWE is worth? What's the net worth? Like, if you were to buy WWE, how much do you think you're going to have to shell out?
$5 billion?
You're close. I undermined it. I said $2 billion. It's $6.
Well, that's I inflated my number as you talked about it, not off the top of my head. When you put it next to like one sports team, when this is like a global thing, $5-6 billion.
It's more valuable than any sports franchise. That's how insane to think about this company is. Like, as much as you want to rip on WWE or you don't enjoy the product maybe like you used to, it's still a cash cow. It's still a business.
Yep.
But speaking of WrestleMania, we talked about night 1 last Sunday on our Sunday shoot. So we really didn't get to touch about night 2. I still thought night 2 was very fun overall. I think we all could probably agree though that night 1 was more enjoyable. Would you agree?
I don't think anyone can give a compelling argument as to how night 2 was better. I think the argument is night 1 was great and night 2 was very good also. But if you're going with a 10 on night 1, I think night 2 is an 8. but that wasn't bad. It was just kind of different feelings too. Where night 2 you had Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville in that car crash match. That was awesome.
Polarizing on the internet. I saw 2 different opinions. It's either you hated that or you loved it, and I think we both loved it.
I loved it. It was there because there was one of them, and the celebrities and the guests that were in that match, that they had to have that match. It was like watching Jackass live,
Yeah,
and it was just a lot of fun. I think the main event billed as the biggest match of all time. I think there was a lot of importance, but I don't think it quite met that. And but it was a great night too. That was a great WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people talk about like night 1. If you just had night 1 itself, we'd be saying this is arguably the greatest WrestleMania. Like, you delivered on everything, and if that's all we got was night 1, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Like, that was fucking awesome. But we had moments. It was a big moments WrestleMania, but that's kind of what WWE, relies on. I didn't expect Stone Cold Steve Austin to show up on night 2. Did you?
No, but in hindsight, it's like, duh, it makes sense, right? That whole thing. I didn't need the McMahon McAfee match, but I'm glad we got the stunners. The worst Vince McMahon stunner of all time, but it was like so bad it was laughable. Even Stone Cold was laughing about it. And Vogus is right. He is one of the biggest moments guys. I still, when I think about that phrase, I think about Vogus standing in the middle of a cornfield at the end of a wiffle ball night with his cell phone light on, watching 2 people dance that just got married that day at the wiffle ball fields.
That happened. That is the thing in Indiana, apparently.
Vogus and his moments. But yeah, if now does this kind of reset the bar for WrestleMania in the Super Bowl? Like, are you going to try to top it next year? You got to come up with a different word other than stupendous. But with that 2-night event, I don't know. That I feel like that WrestleMania is going to be hard to top.
It is, and I don't think they go into every year's WrestleMania like, all right, we got to beat last year. Like it's its own entity, and it's going to be probably a different card, a different vibe with it. But I mean, I think this WrestleMania as a whole, I think one of my biggest takeaways is that celebrity involvement is just getting better and better. Like, this is something I want to see more of, because you look at Logan Paul's performance. We talked about it last week. He was fantastic. Pat McAfee, to the surprise of no one, was great in his match against Austin Theory. Like, being able to jump from the mat to the top rope with ease and then hit a suplex. And he's only had 3 matches in his career. And then he's doing that in front of 70,000 people, like we said. It's insane to think about. And of course, the involvement with the Jackass crew. Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn was like Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant. Like, that was an epic moment. And these celebrities, man, they're all taking it seriously, it seems like. And Logan Paul has even went on the record to say it's something he thinks he could continue doing. Like, give me more celebrity involvement at WrestleMania. I love it.
Well, I think the thing that WWE is getting better at is they're picking better celebrities to carry the product, as opposed to looking at someone in their name and then writing a match around it. I think when you look at Bad Bunny, when you look at Logan Paul, when you look at the Jackass guys, they're finding and picking people that are trainable, that are athletic, that can do some of those things, that are impressive, and they're just picking better people that you have to kind of work less around. So I'm here for it too. I don't see Logan Paul right now running for in the main title, but I'd rather see the Logan Paul stuff or Bad Bunny stuff as opposed to spamming the 24/7 title. And having that at the forefront so often. So I'm happy with that too. And if Logan Paul's here for it, I am too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, the only other thing I really want to talk about from night 2 was the main event, because, like you said, it was being billed as the greatest match of all time. And there's obviously reports out there. Nobody really knows the facts about it, but you could see on Roman Reigns' shoulder, like, something was fucked up. Like, he got banged up there in the main event. Whether that ended it short or not, I still feel like that is a match that we've seen before. Like, with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, they're both uber talented. We already know they're 2 of the best in the business right now, but it just gets to a point where we've seen this so many times at the same exact stage. where else can you go with it? And we got no involvement from Paul, really. Like, Paul Heyman didn't do anything to turn on anyone. And it just felt like, yeah, the main event was solid, but it wasn't what it was billed to be.
I agree. I think it was I think those two guys, this was only their 5th match. So, but it's basically like who can find the spot to hit their finisher the most. I was hoping for a few more minutes, maybe a few other creative spots, but Roman is rightly holding both titles at the moment, and we saw the picture of what a unified title might look like on that big piece that was supposed to be at the stadium, but that never made an appearance. So are they backing off the actual unification to make it one title and having him hold two? He's the unified champion because he's holding both, but it does give them the out to have the WWE title go one way. So if you had to book WrestleMania right now, the main event, who is challenging who for the title, the biggest title that the company has, whether it's
you're talking about for next year's
unified next year, Sunday night 2 main event, who is in it?
I mean, I would say the obvious one is The Rock, but we don't know if The Rock is willing to come back. Like, if we didn't see him at all at WrestleMania 38, or we haven't even really heard anything since, it's like, I don't know if we can bank on that. So then I start thinking, who in the company right now is up to Roman Reigns' level? The answer is no one. Like no one. They have built up to be credible enough to take that title off of Roman Reigns. But like, the Money in the Bank will give you an opportunity with those 2 belts for somebody to cash in on one of them, so Roman can just hold on.
Hopefully you're kind of guaranteeing a meaningful cash in one way or the other, because I tell you what, whoever wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, if they fail in a cash in on Roman while he's holding 2 titles, come on, what? Like,
you can't.
He is greatness on a different level. He is God mode. He is head of the table. But come on, at some point, are you just gonna have to come up with a 3rd heavyweight title that Roman gets to keep those 2 until he retires or something? That's where we're at.
Right?
Is it Cody and Roman at WrestleMania next year?
I think that's too far away.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that might be their SummerSlam plan, because we know the Miz is going to probably be the first feud for Cody. They've kind of put some feelers out there, and I think they might have.
What are your thoughts on that?
Safe bet. I mean, it's something. I mean, the Miz, he has great feuds with everyone. I mean, why not? I'm not mad about it.
I thought it made sense, and I was cool with it too. It seems like the IWC was a little skeptical, but I thought Miz is a great. He doesn't building his resume, so
yeah. And look at the way AEW's been.
Are you frozen?
I might be. I'm not sure. Am I still frozen?
You're definitely behind. So okay. I think we're good now.
Are we good? All right. Whatever. You keep freezing on my end too.
I have no idea what's going on. We got a load from Too Sweet Kyle right now. Little technical difficulties.
Am I back now?
This is not great. But hey, that's what happens when you do it live sometimes.
Good grief. What is going on here with this connection? Am I back now?
This is tough. I can hear you. The video is not perfect, but I think we're close.
I could probably leave and come back then if that's the case. But no, if you want to talk about potential matches for Roman Reigns next year at WrestleMania, I'll let you talk about this too for a little bit while I come back in. I think it's got to be John Cena. I think if John Cena makes a return, he's a big enough guy. You already had that matchup at SummerSlam last year. The story's there. John Cena's going for the record. I mean, why not do a Roman Reigns versus John Cena at WrestleMania 39?
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing Cena and Reigns at WrestleMania. I'm interested in the Cody thing. I wonder how well Seth, where Seth's going to be at in a year. And then you also have to think about Kevin Owens too. Someone like Kevin Owens, who's coming off the hottest WrestleMania he's had too. So I think, I don't know who that is, Joe Smith the Don. But I am certainly not in a populated hotspot out here. I'm in the middle of the mountains. So Joe's, I don't know who that is. That's funny though. But
they know who you are.
I have an idea. We'll see. But yeah. So I think Cody Roman. Let's see where Seth goes in a year. What is Veer going to look like in a year? They're interested.
What about Gunther, who we will get to probably?
Yeah. That we had some shenanigans with SmackDown. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to book a year out, but I think there's a lot of names that are going to make it a good Money in the Bank. I'm interested to see what Hell in a Cell looks like. Because there's a lot of I'm thinking 4 horsewomen in Hell in a Cell going for Charlotte's title. If it's me, I'm here for that. I think that would be wild, but that maybe Hell in a Cell is not a big pay-per-view, but yep.
I think that could be your main event to one of the nights too next year. If you just want to do Charlotte versus Sasha versus Bayley versus Becky, like that has to happen before all these ladies venture off into, just different things. Like we see, like Sasha could become a movie star. She was in The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Becky's having kids. Bayley was hurt. You're not guaranteed that match. I feel like that's something that's definitely going to happen at a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam. Well,
and credit to the women's division, because you have the 4 horsewomen that could do that title match, and then you still have Bianca, you still have Ronda, you still have Rhea, you still have Naomi, and those
Lacey
are 4.
Evans back.
Liv Morgan, Lacey Evans. So there's 6 right there. Sonya Deville's been mixing it back up.
Natalya.
And there ain't nobody meaner than Tamina. So the other side, and what's Alexa Bliss, there's still a lot left. If you put all 4, you're not going to be able to run a battle royal, but if you put all 4 of those in one match, there's still a lot left for the other title. So we'll see. I think that would be fun.
Hey, shout out to Alexa Bliss, who just got married to Ryan Cabrera. I saw all the wrestlers there at the wedding, and then you have Carmella and Corey getting married. Just, what a time to be alive for the wrestlers out there getting married.
What I would give to be like the photographer at that wedding, that I just get to be around them. That'd be fun.
I just extend the +1 to OTM for once. Just throw us a bone.
We're good people. We're good guests. We push our chairs in. You're not going to have a mess at our table. Like, come on. It's not going to be a problem. Just let us come to your weddings.
That's right. That's all we're asking for. So, yeah, overall, what would you give WrestleMania as a whole? I got to guess for your letter grade. We graded night 1 last week, but if you were to give WrestleMania 38 a grade, what would you give it?
A. I was happy with it. It was good. I just give it a nice A. That 94, 95. I
was going to say 94. Yeah.
Like at some point, like we have to admit we can be happy. And I just enjoyed both nights.
You can enjoy wrestling.
It's okay. We don't have to be grumpy all the time. I'm interested to see now, looking at the pay-per-view schedule. You've got WrestleMania Backlash, Double or Nothing. They're starting to stack up. And so I'm excited to see where we go from here in AEW and WWE. And
wrestling don't stop either.
No.
Yeah, NXT's still good. Ring of Honor is now going to become probably more mainstream as you see like Ring of Honor belts being used in AEW television now. And ladies and gentlemen, your OTM champion has arrived. I'm not giving him a round of applause. He took my title.
Wow, salty. Mr. Salty Boy. We got to change his title on that shirt.
He's got a free hoodie coming in the mail. Hopefully next week if it hasn't came in already. But besides WrestleMania, obviously, you got all that stuff that happened this week with the Raw after WrestleMania. I was expecting more from the Raw after WrestleMania as a whole. I would
a little bit.
Yeah.
That it's hard coming off of a great 2 days. You're okay, this will hold serve. And it wasn't terrible. It was interesting, but we got spoiled for 2 days, so we're not going to get 3 days in a row. The SmackDown before was fine too. So, the Raw after Mania was a little bit of a letdown.
I enjoyed the SmackDown after WrestleMania more than the Raw, but the thing that I popped up here on the graphic is Elias, now known as Ezekiel. Actually, sorry, it's Elias's younger brother, Ezekiel, made his debut or return, however you want to word it, on Monday Night Raw, which I love how they're just not shying away from the fact that we know this is Elias, but Elias, aka Ezekiel, now is totally acting like he's a completely different person. He's related to Elias. I thought it was hilarious.
That was my favorite part of the segment, that Seth Rollins was like, no, you're definitely Elias. So they didn't, at least they're trying to do some lip service with the fans.
I disagree with Ryan Matthews. Anybody. Disagree.
I'm at least like, it wasn't like a home run because we didn't get enough of like what it is, but I'm interested to learn more about it over the next few weeks. The walk with Elias thing was only fun so people could yell those 3 words, and then nothing happened. So let's see how Ezekiel goes. I forgot how shredded he was. He's jacked. Hate him without the beard. Those are my only comments.
It's a scary sight to see. After seeing him with a full beard and a guitar for almost a decade, it seems like him coming out with the baby face and just the trunks. It was weird.
He's got like permanent beard burn in the area where the beard was. It's not leveled back out. It's interesting.
I think every week he should just come out to a new character. Just be something different every week and just say somehow he's related to Elias and just keep going with it. I think it's something that would make, the WWE loves their comedy. Like you have the 24/7 title scene that provides that. And there's a couple things that happen on show to show that it's funny. But I think if you have a gimmick that's kind of just random, I'm here for it. I think Elias,
he's trying to find himself. Ezekiel didn't work. So next week we've got Eric. And next week we've got, I don't know.
We already got Eric. He's with Ivar.
Oh yeah, War. Let's do it.
Can't do that with Raid. You got to do the thing with it.
Oh yeah, Raid, not War. Raid. Yeah.
I think the only other thing though from Monday Night Raw was probably the Cody promo, which I was obviously looking forward to, as was many other people. We saw the ratings come in, and this Raw did very well, and it's probably because it's a Raw after WrestleMania. But obviously having Cody Rhodes now back in the WWE, tell me a little bit what you thought about his promo here on Monday Night Raw.
Well, I thought it was kind of vintage Cody. He prepares. He knows what he's going to say. His promos have like an aura or an energy behind him, where I think he writes with the end product and goal or the crowd reaction long term when he's writing these promos. And I think he's going to boost Raw pretty well. I don't know. Again, I think it's both. People knew Cody was going to talk, and it was the Raw after Mania, so we have to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of people that maybe usually only are watching AEW that were like, all right, Cody was kind of one of ours, so I'm going to see what he's doing over in WWE to see what's different, or I'm just intrigued to see what he's diving into first, like what's his first feud going to be. But I think you kind of worded it perfectly with Cody Rhodes. Like he always has a plan of attack with these promos, and his verbiage is a lot different than other superstars. And it's the way he delivers these things, his facial expressions. I think he's one of the better promos right now in wrestling. And we kind of saw that towards the end of his AEW run when he was given the microphone at times to kind of shoot on some things. And it seems like this, at least his first segment here on Raw, there's no way that was scripted. Like that was straight from Cody Rhodes.
Well, I think the only scripting of it was what Cody Rhodes wrote and developed himself. I agree with that. I also like that he came out in that suit, which was very AEW-ish, where he just has this air about him that he's going to be a professional. He was wearing the suit in AEW as an EVP. He could have walked down to the ring in jeans and a t-shirt on Monday, but he's got this aura about him that he's going to continue to hold. So I like that part of it too.
Yeah, we got a comment coming in from Ryan. He said that the eventual Reigns and Rhodes feud is going to be great. And yeah, that's kind of what I was going to bring up, Tuck, was the fact that it seems like the path is clear for Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE. And he's kind of brought it up now on multiple instances, whether it's an interview or on TV, is that he wants to get what his family never got, a world title. Dusty never held a world title. Goldust, Dustin Rhodes never held one. And then you have Cody, obviously, that was never able to reach that platform, but then he goes away. He rebuilds himself. He creates the American Nightmare. Now I feel like it's just that collision course, like Ryan is saying. Cody gets built up to eventually take on Roman Reigns.
Yep. And in the chase, a loss only makes it more of a chase. So wouldn't be surprised if the first time they duked it out, if Roman Reigns got the win early, to continue it, to give Rhodes more adversity. So I'm excited to see how that'll work out.
Yeah, and once Money in the Bank comes too, that's going to add that other layer to the Roman Reigns thing of, can he get cashed in on, and what belt are they going to take, and what show are they going to be on? Like there's so many possibilities that come out of that alone itself. So I'm excited to see how Cody kind of falls into the mix there as well, or when they decide to pull the trigger on Reigns and Rhodes. So if you were to make a prediction right now, when do you think they are going to do Rhodes versus Reigns?
I think Rhodes versus Reigns round 1 will be at SummerSlam.
I agree.
And then you can do it again at the Rumble. You could do it at Mania, depending on where they're at. But it'll be interesting. The month of July should be a sprint, because July 2nd is Money in the Bank and July 30th is SummerSlam. So they have 4 weeks ish to kind of build whatever's going on if they want to capitalize on it at SummerSlam. So with Ryan's question, are we getting a new belt? I don't think we do. I think they're gonna. I thought we would already. I thought they would debut it on Raw or SmackDown, the new unified title. So I think they're going the way of calling him a unified champion. So you have the out and the 2 belts. So we'll see. But the Money in the Bank is the easy way to get it off, one of them off of him.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I also think just the image of him holding multiple belts is what they're kind of sold on. You can even see with that promo that we got on SmackDown with the Bloodline that Roman wants more belts for the family. Like, the more the merrier. They just want to be the belt collectors over there in WWE. So I don't think we're going to get like an actual title belt for Roman Reigns. It's just going to be WWE Champion, Universal.
Are we going to get Usos and RK Bro and Hell in a Cell?
That sounds awesome.
Well, and that way,
great.
I think the pitch from RK Bro is like, okay, if we're gonna go, let's fight in the cell, so we can eliminate distraction, right? That's always been the ploy of it. Let's keep that tribal chief guy out of here and see how it goes straight up. And
man, that match would be
maybe add a bigger chain to the gate. I know, and I'm only saying that because we're going. So I'm just, I guess,
I know,
put that out there, because it's not always the biggest matches that are in the Hell in a Cell kind of thing. They'll go a little bit lower, but that would be a great one. I don't know if you're going to see Roman in the Cell this year. Who knows?
That story fits the Cell. I think you sold me on that being able to be a Hell in a Cell match. Like, another one I can think of off the top of my head that they would probably do is Charlotte and Ronda. The way this just feud has gone, I think eventually all things could lead to Hell in the Cell. That way you have those ladies beat the shit out of one another. Ryan said, God, I hope so. I think I'll be at Hell in the Cell. Hey, we'll be there too.
We'll be there. Yeah, there's a good chance we can figure out a time to see each other. So that'll be fun. We get a picture with the belt, like me pointing at him. Yeah, another one of my buddies is going to be there. Baseball guy growing up. That's how I know him. So going to be a lot of familiar faces in the Allstate Arena in June. Yep. Not a better atmosphere to watch wrestling than the Allstate. We always say there's not a bad seat in that place. It's solid. It's good vibes. So anything else from Monday Night Raw that really you want to talk about, or you good? No, I'm good with that. Yeah, and if you check the back of that sweatshirt, at Pot on the Mark is where you can follow us on all socials. Ryan Matthews will be representing. He got the white one, which is a bold move because white could get dirty, Tuck, but it looks sharp. I I don't mess with white stuff. I keep the color. I don't know how to say this without. I don't like wearing white shirts.
Nobody could clip it. Spin the narrative.
It's, when you have a podcast that you live stream and we wake up and we say, let's not get canceled today. But I think I might have sidestepped a cancellation there. So
we've almost hit triple digits and we haven't been canceled yet. So I think we're doing pretty well for ourselves. Which is crazy to think about, Tuck, that we're 11 away from 100.
I mean, math out. I mean, we'll be at 100 before SummerSlam. Will we be okay? April, May, June. Episode 100. If we clock out, might be Hell in a Cell weekend. We might have to do a Hell in a Cell review on that Monday, something like that. Yeah,
the possibilities are endless, and we definitely will get to 100. There's no doubt about that.
That's enough of that. Let's get that. We can get that one off the screen.
We can move on right now. So let's just go in order then. So like obviously you had Monday Night Raw, NXT. Was there anything maybe that you wanted to touch on there? I feel like we're really seeing the new era of NXT once again because there's no champ on that show anymore. Other people getting called up.
Yeah, still very young, still very horny. Moving on to Dynamite.
Yeah, so the Dynamite conversation is I think it's got to be the main event. Like that's the first thing that I want to talk about at least is the fact that, FTR and Young Bucks have built this feud, even before when the Revival was a thing in WWE, they were chirping at each other on Twitter. It eventually moves over to AEW. And now we're getting just a series of matches. And it's not like it's not for anything because you have the Ring of Honor belts, you have the AAA tag team titles on the line. And they delivered definitely a match of the year candidate in the main event this week.
Yeah, and like you mentioned in a tweet, I was sitting there watching like they're just giving this one away. This one's free, and that's good. That is something that AEW is not afraid to do, and I think WWE is a little more hesitant now to pull the trigger on a match like that on free TV. But I think it makes me interested in watching it again next week because I feel like AEW. Because it's 2 hours with Dynamite, that's their main driver. That's the one you kind of have to watch a little bit more compared to like Raw and SmackDown. If you get one of them, okay, it's just more work. So, and I think AEW does reward fans a little bit better with the Dynamites and Rampages as opposed to WWE.
Yeah, and I think Tony, I forgot what interview I was listening to. It might have been Brandon Walker from Wrestling at Barstool, but he even talked about, he was like, I kind of got away from my roots. Like originally Rampage was a can't miss show and he would book it pretty strong. But for the past couple months, he's kind of let the foot off the gas a little bit. And you can tell now that he's starting to book bigger and better Rampage cards. It's like, for example, next Friday, we're getting the AEW World Championship match in a Texas death match. Like, I feel like I have to be sitting down 6:00 Central, new start time for this episode. I can't miss this live. It's a world title opportunity.
Yeah. Yep. And they're not afraid to flip a title here. You're also still far enough out where the card for Double or Nothing is taking shape, nothing set in stone. So this is the perfect time to kind of do it because if they do it, I think what happens after this is kind of going to form that holding pattern on our way to Double or Nothing. We're at that point we'll be 6 weeks out, I think. So you got to start getting it in. But this week in particular, 6-7 weeks ahead of their next big show, would be the time where a title could flip and you still build a compelling program. It's not so close where you put a title on the line a week before Double or Nothing. It doesn't make sense to flip the title. You've already promoted a certain story. So we got to see it. I won't be able to see it live. I'll see it an hour or two after it's done, but it's only an hour, that show, right? So
yeah,
we can find an hour.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think this is an interesting comment from Ryan. He said, not going to lie, WrestleMania was so great that it took my eyes off of AEW. It's been a while since WWE did that for me. And Tuck, in a way, I kind of get where he's coming from because when I was watching WrestleMania, it's kind of like I forgot AEW was a thing, like I was fully into everything that WWE was selling me on TV to the point where I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Dynamite's on Wednesday,
And AEW, they tried to get it in. They tried to make their splash headline wise. I mean, Samoa Joe debuted, FTR and the Briscoes at Ring of Honor. They definitely they threw a few punches. There just wasn't anything. It was WrestleMania mode. It was no time for AEW.
You're not going to overshadow the it's named WrestleMania weekend for a reason. Like that's going to be the main focus. And that's what people are going to be talking about. But the Samoa Joe thing was fantastic. I loved, and I still haven't seen FTR versus Briscoes, but I have some time today, so I'm going to have to check that out. But speaking of FTR, they organically over the past couple of months have just turned into a fantastic babyface team. They ditched Tully Blanchard. The crowd is fully behind them, and the presentation of them is just, man, this is probably the best tag team in wrestling right now, FTR.
Well, and I was never like super FTR guy. I respected them, the different style, but the more and more I watch them, the more and more I get it. So I think FTR is kind of like a wine. You got to spend a little time with it before you start understanding the nuances and the differences. And their presentation is different, and their matches are great, but they're great not because they're flying all over the place, because you're getting a blind tag here that you didn't see. They're like a step ahead in regards to the rules and things like that. So they're great.
They have so many layers to them, from the characters to their in-ring psychology, just to the overall presentation of FTR is next level stuff. Like when I think of top tier tag teams, FTR, I think of the Usos, RK Bro, the Young Bucks, and probably Penta and Rey Fenix. But obviously Rey is hurt right now, so we don't get to see much of them as at the moment. But the Young Bucks and the FTR match, the styles just match perfectly, and it creates just magic. And that main event was as close as you probably can get to a 5-star match on free television. Yep. It
was very, very good.
Anything else from Dynamite that caught your attention? I'm trying to think back. I thought Christian Cage and Adam Cole was a good opener.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I just thought it was a solid show. It was good. But you can't go out without talking about what we just recapped. That had to steal the show. So
yeah, it's the last thing that went on, and it's the one that everybody's really talking about. So we'll see where that takes them. I'm assuming FTR will find a way into the AEW tag team scene.
They have to? Yes. Come on.
Because
it's right in
we're
front
getting
of you,
a lot of title matches coming up, because you have Battle of the Belts next Saturday, Rampage. I believe the tag team titles are on the line against Red Dragon, right?
Yes, I think so. Wait, so that Rampage is on Saturday? Right?
No, Rampage on Friday is just Texas Deathmatch, and they might throw another one on there. I'm not sure. And then you have Battle of the Belts on Saturday.
Oh, which is its own like standalone show? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if that's like Dynamite. That might be Dynamite, like considered to be. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me.
Yeah, I gotta look into that.
Joe Smith, the Don, coming back in. Who should be the one to beat Hook? Is what I believe he is asking.
Oh, I think that is what the Don is asking.
Danhausen.
Why did you say that?
I'm joking. I really don't know. I don't think Hook's kind of cooled off a little bit. Like, we really haven't seen much of him. They kind of just do backstage segments now where he just doesn't talk.
Yeah.
He's so young. Like, they don't need to shove him down our throats yet. So I don't know how to answer that question. You got one?
No, I don't have one. April 15th. Okay. So they're filming Battle of the Belts after Rampage on the 15th and showing it on the 16th. So
there is a Dynamite then still.
Yeah, I think.
So we have Dynamite, Rampage, and Battle of the Belts this week, is what you're telling me.
That's what I feel. I think I'm right.
Damn.
Yep.
All right. Sit down and strap it down.
Sit back, relax, and strap it down. I'm looking at one more thing to confirm, but that's what it's looking like. We've got Dynamite in Rampage on the 13th in New Orleans. AEW Battle of the Belts and Rampage on Friday the 15th. So it looks like they're doing this week's Rampage on the 13th, and then they're filming.
Oh, so there will be a live Rampage on Friday.
Maybe.
I think
But
that's
they're
what
doing.
I feel like you have to have a world title match live because then you'll have spoilers going out there.
April 13th is Dynamite and Rampage. And then
That
April
could just be
15th
the other
is,
shit that they're filming for Friday's Rampage talk. Like they do
yeah,
a live
could
match
be, yeah.
Friday with Battle of the Belts, and they call it Rampage, and then they just show a recording from Wednesday. Could be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless, they have a big week coming up.
13th, 15th, and then then it's just Dynamite Rampage week after week until Double or Nothing.
That's that's obviously something to look forward to. But I think another thing that AEW is doing, and we can kind of move on from AEW for the rest of the show, is what Wheeler Yuta has become over the past couple of weeks. And this story with, Moxley, Danielson, and William Regal. That match, did you get to see that match between Wheeler and Mox?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Maybe Wheeler's the guy that beats Hook. He's heating up.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a belt. I don't know what it's called. It's a Ring of Honor belt, right?
It's the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. There's a specific set of rules. You're not allowed to punch like open hand after you use 3 rope breaks. You get them. You can be submitted anywhere. It's interesting with the rules. It's supposed to be like pure wrestling. So you can do some things, but not the other. It's weird.
Interesting. Sounds like a very Ring of Honor thing to do, just to have those weird rules attached to it. But no, Wheeler Yuta has become a star in front of our eyes, and it kind of helps when you have Moxley, Danielson, and Regal there to kind of go into the story. But the match that he had here with Moxley, he gains the respect from Regal, and it looks like we are officially having a new addition to the group, which that's a hell of an addition that they've added there.
And I think Wheeler is kind of the target that they were thinking about when they started discussing the Blackpool Combat Club, right? Young up and comer that we can turn into a star. And I think that's Yuta. So,
yeah, we were trying to think about like potential people. I think Daniel Garcia was a guy that we mentioned, but obviously he's with the JAS now. So he's got things going on. So yeah, Wheeler Yuta seems to be that guy, the go-to guy, and they've made him a star over the past couple of weeks. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I'm sure they're not done recruiting. I think a guy like Hook could be a good potential recruit. Just get him focused, get away from this like nonchalant attitude that he has, and just have him lasered in and just be a badass. That could be another addition to them.
That would be cool.
So we'll see, man. That's anything else from AEW for you?
No.
Cool. Let me take a drink of this water because it's a Sunday shoot. We can do what we want, right?
Yep.
Cool. And if you're listening to this at a later date, shout out to you because we appreciate you. Give it a retweet.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, you're important too. You might not be the MVM, but speaking of the MVM, Ovi hasn't made an appearance this episode. I wonder if that has to do with the lack of Marini in this.
Could be.
She pops a rating.
Yes, we know Marini's value to this podcast. We're aware.
But that's not the reason why we brought her in. She provides the takes as well.
No, we understand her value. That what I think we learned about what else she brings to the table. I mean, numbers are through the roof with her. It makes sense.
Yeah. Shout out to Marini. We miss you. Hopefully you'll be here on Thursday. Speaking of Thursday talk, you probably busy, I'm assuming.
I've got a game again.
How's the seat?
Good. We're about 500. We are very streaky, which is something you see at the junior varsity level, where we're really good at baseball some days, and then the sun goes down and comes back up, and then we forgot a lot of how to play it. So we're working on the consistency, but good attitudes, good kids. I've enjoyed it. We've got 7 games left. So
wow, you got through a lot.
I mean, we've already played. I think we've played 18 or 19 games already. Yeah. So no rainouts. Knock on wood, but we haven't had a rainout. We had like 3 cold games, so it's been a very different experience compared to Indiana, where you're frozen the first 7 weeks of the year. And
we haven't got really any warm temps yet.
Yeah, the sun comes out during sectional weekend, and then you get sunburnt because you haven't been warm all season. So it's been different out here. So it's good. It wraps up a lot earlier, makes me I have a little bit more flexibility after. So it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Good to hear. So there's really only one show to talk about, and it's the one that we said was probably better than the Raw after WrestleMania, and that was SmackDown this past Friday. And obviously the story's going to continue here with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte. She kicked off SmackDown, Ronda Rousey did, and kind of was just saying that she needs that rematch. She needs to get that title. And then we find out yesterday on social media, it's going to be an I Quit match. Tuck, how do you feel about that stipulation being added to this feud?
I will say that I think Ronda is good at stipulations or goofy matches. She was great in the mixed tag. I think my favorite match of hers in her return has been the arm behind the back match. She works well in these different like confines or restrictions. What she actually needs is someone to come out and talk for her, though, because I'm still not in love with her on the mic. It doesn't feel very believable to me. That I don't feel like she's shooting from the hip, that organic like feel. So I wouldn't mind if she had a mouthpiece. I just don't know who it would be.
I think she would be, and obviously they're in NXT, so it would never work out, but I think she fits Diamond Mine perfectly. If you had Malcolm Bivens talking for Ronda Rousey with the creeds and the real shoot fighting, it's a fit that I would like to see, but it's obviously something that can't happen. But I guess
there's a lot of moves that would have to happen. Just bring up the whole squad,
which they are bringing up a lot, which we will get to. But no, I think this I Quit match, one means Ronda's going to win. Like, we're not going to see Ronda Rousey say I quit in a WWE match. That's just not Ronda Rousey. Like, she's a UFC fighter. She was one of the greatest of all times in that sport. They're not going to have her come over here just to say I quit to Charlotte Flair, right?
I agree. I think this is the way that Ronda gets the win, and then the trilogy can be capped off. Do you cap it off at Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank? I don't know where it goes, but
Hell in a Cell would be perfect because you did the WrestleMania, then Backlash, then finish it with a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell,
and gives you 2 months to rebuild the program for that title before SummerSlam. Yeah,
and then you have the Money in the Bank that Ronda could get cashed in on, and then there's a new feud for Ronda. So, like, once again, there's layers to this and there's potential. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, like you said, not a lot of people buying into Ronda on the microphone. So the feud's kind of just but with Ronda and Charlotte, it'll probably be a good match. But other things that happen on SmackDown, we alluded to it earlier, multiple call-ups. We saw Gunther. We saw Raquel Rodriguez. She gets a last name change. And then, I'm blanking on what his name used to be because he's now Ludwig. Barthel? Fabian
Eichner,
no,
Marcel
Barthel. Yeah, is now Ludwig, which that's fine. I guess it fits with what Gunther is. But Gunther's debut, what do you think about that?
on the Masked Man show, they talked about, they kind of rationalized the name change for Gunther, and now it makes a little bit more sense. I think what their claims were that like the Walter name didn't strike them as very foreign imperium type, like strong name. When you say Gunther, it's got that different kind of vibe to it in a different era, and maybe that's why they renamed him. But I'm excited to see how he mixes up. He's always been the monster at NXT UK and NXT. Can he maintain that? Is he a guy that wins Money in the Bank? Like, I don't know. He's impressive. So you have options. I think it's too early now, but if he's in the match, you're not mad about it.
No,
so we'll see.
Like, he's obviously a contender if he's in that match, and there's avenues you can go down with him as Money in the Bank, especially with Ludwig by his side. And Eichner obviously doesn't get the call up in that situation, which is kind of unfortunate because when you go back to Imperium matches, Fabian Eichner delivers a lot of cool spots.
Yeah, that would be like heartbreaking. Hey, Fabian, we're calling up Gunther, and we're calling up Marcel. Actually, we're actually changing his name but we're not calling you up though.
Which screws him, because where does he go in NXT by himself?
And now you go back to, and now he's at like ground zero. it could be an opportunity to refresh, reset. But like now it's like, dude, it's like when you've dated someone for 6-7 years, you know everything about them, and then you break up. There's a lot of legwork in the beginning of a relationship that you got to figure out, and he might just be like, "Dang, dude, I'm tired. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he can find his footing.
Maybe he becomes the assistant to the new Don of NXT. I don't. Maybe he's with Tony D'Angelo. I really don't know what you can do with Fabian Aichner. It sucks for him, but I thought the debut as a whole for Gunther and with Ludwig there was solid. I like the old fashioned bring in a local talent, have him squashed, and then we'll go from there and we'll figure out a feud once we get to that point. But like sometimes those work, and I feel like in this instance it did.
I agree.
And then Raquel, with her getting her name changed, I don't think that really affects much because I mean she goes from Gonzalez to Rodriguez. It's fine with me. I'm not bothered.
Yeah, from what I read, that's just a trademark thing. Her actual name is Raquel Gonzalez. So
it is.
Yeah. So switching her to Raquel Rodriguez now gives an IP to WWE. Okay, that makes sense. They have to get their slice of bread too. Okay, Raquel.
And if Raquel,
at least she has a last name for now. In 2 months, she's just going to be Raquel. So. Whatever. Yeah.
They didn't do much with her. She was just in a backstage segment with Los Lotharios, smiling and everything. So it looks like she's being presented as a babyface, which cool. I feel like she did enough in NXT where it was probably time to call her up.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just interesting though. I know Dakota has, I believe, an NXT Women's Championship opportunity though next week, right? 2 days.
Let me look it up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, where does that leave Dakota? Because obviously Dakota and Raquel reunited, won the titles, and then they just lost it to Toxic Attraction again. But I think maybe Dakota is going to get the NXT Women's title because Mandy beats her. Where does Dakota go from there?
Yeah, they're going. Dakota Kai is, Tuesday night, 8/7 Central. Will she be the one to dethrone Rose? Mm-hmm.
I think she will. I think that's a good direction to go in.
There we go.
And last thing from SmackDown would be the reemergence of Lacey Evans and presented in kind of a different way. We know Lacey was gone for a while because she had another kid, I should say. And now they're leaning into the Marine background and all that. She told a real story. And I think sometimes bringing in that realism, like we've talked about with AEW, is good. And with Lacey Evans, I think this could work.
Well, and there's been enough time since we last saw her that we're not super attached to the gimmick. Let's give her a fair shake and trying to lay down this new character and see how it goes from there. Where her re-debut in that video package didn't do enough to move the needle one way or the other. Now we know she's back and she's taking it in this direction. Let's see how it goes. And we don't need her to, act like a lady to necessarily like her. She can have a different gimmick too. So interested to see where it goes.
Never forget when Lacey Evans retweeted me because I said I was listening to her theme song on my way to work, and she showed me some love. So everybody knows I'm a big Lacey Evans guy. Or if you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. Yep.
Yeah, don't say the next couple words because then you definitely get canceled, sir. But you would never. We would never. Any other things though from SmackDown?
No. Is Shinsuke Roman's next opponent?
Oh yeah, that's something. Yeah, I think he is. How do you feel?
Cool. We're in that like cool down period where we gotta see some guys pop in there. People forget, what was it, Jimmy that went on? Was it Jimmy or Jay that had the title match? Yeah, Jay got a shot at it. So there's a few different candidates, and I think Shinsuke's where he's at now with Rick Boogs on the shelf for a minute. Let's go.
The Brooklyn Joker coming in. Yeah, we just talked about this actually minutes ago, right, Tuck? It is what it is. Tuck was talking about how that's just WWE getting theirs.
I think because I believe Raquel Gonzalez is her actual name. It's not a trademarkable like IP that they can have. So switch it to Gonzalez. or Rodriguez, and now it's just different enough for them to keep their chunk of it. Just makes sense to me, and it's not so like egregious. They didn't go from Raquel Gonzalez to like Lulu Magoo, like,
or call
still
her
Raquel.
like something mama. What do they call her? Something mama. I don't know what they call her. Mama's included in the name.
I don't know.
They refer to her as something. It might be like Latino. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that one, but they call her something like that. But I don't think it's going to, that name change is not going to affect her and her momentum and her, overall presentation. I don't think so. Overall, it is what it is with that. But yeah, with Shinsuke getting in that segment with Roman, I would say yes, he probably is the next guy to feud with Roman to pass the time. But unfortunately, I think this is because of the injury to Boogs, because if Boogs doesn't get hurt, I don't think Shinsuke is that first program for Roman Reigns. They probably would go in another direction. But people forget Shinsuke Nakamura is a guy that's won a Royal Rumble. He's been in world title matches, been an Intercontinental Champion. And, he's credible enough. I think he can be a decent challenger to Roman Reigns.
I think so. You're going to get a good match, and it should be of a different style or ilk with Shinsuke in there against Roman compared to Brock and Roman. So it'll be good. It's just we're in this holding pattern. We have to wait for someone to heat up to Roman's level.
Yeah, and then the Brooklyn Joker says he wants to see a triple threat with the Bloodline for the Universal Championship. That would be something.
That would be pretty cool that the family has imploded. They have too much gold. They have you could get it to that point where, all of the significant titles, if they have both tag championships and the Universal and the WWE title, there's a lot of gold sitting there. Roman
get
wins
even weirder
with 6 belts.
Yeah. Get even weirder though. Make it a fatal 4-way and have Solo Sikoa get involved.
Make it real weird and have it be a fantastic 5-way and let The Rock join. Let's get weird.
And get Tamina and Nia Jackson to it, and we can just have a free-for-all for the family belt.
Intergender bloodline scrambled. Strap all 6 belts above the ring. Ladder match. Let's go.
Roman's going to just have to hold his arms out like this just to hold all the belts at the end of that match because Roman ain't losing to anybody like that.
He's just gonna have a pole that he carries with one hand that's got 6 belts on it. But Brooklyn Joker's comment, the triple threat, just the 2 Usos and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, that would be nice. That would be nice because they've all used each other to win the titles, right? So who wins who, and what does that look like? And Ryan Matthews says Roman's basically about to be Kenny Omega with how many belts he'll hold, and I think I'm here for it. Right? You don't get the vibe from every champion that they like. Not all of them roll like that. I didn't get that vibe from Kenny. He didn't seem like a belt collector to me. He just seemed like a good match guy. But that's who he. He had a lot of gold, but Roman, like, it feels like when he that is him. I have to wake up and have all the gold. Because I am God. I am on a different level. It seems necessary. I like Shinsuke, but he has not beaten Roman Reigns. Right. I agree. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's believable to think that Shinsuke would, but it'll be entertaining as we heat somebody. As the cookie crumbles, I think, it should help Shinsuke. I mean, being in a feud with Roman Reigns isn't going to hurt you, so you getting him back in the main event scene, it's good for Shinsuke, I believe, but definitely not going to win. It feels kind of like when Roman feuded with Cesaro. I want to say the timing was eerily similar. It might have been post Mania last year that Cesaro kind of stepped up and had one title match, and obviously he didn't win. Now he's not with the company, but it kind of gives me that same vibe with Shinsuke. So that probably is everything I can think of for the week. A jam-packed week once again in pro wrestling talk. And after Mania, it feels like you come off this cool down, but we're in a spot where there's a lot of good stories to be told. Orton and Riddle are still together. They haven't broke up. Cody's made his debut. What is Kevin Owens going to do after Stone Cold? Sami Zayn, like there's just a lot. So it's not like we built to this incredible peak and climax at WrestleMania. And now we're in this lull. we're up here, and we've got to start laying the bricks and the foundation to send somebody else. It should have been Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. In Cody's debut, I'm not. I don't know if I agree with that. Kyle, what are your thoughts on that?
No, we talked about that kind of earlier. Obviously, the Brooklyn Joker is showing it a little bit later, but we appreciate you stopping by and giving us your feedback. That it's probably too soon for that. Eventually, we're going to get to that point. It's just got to be now we have to build the American Nightmare in WWE to get to that level of a Roman Reigns who has been champion for over 500 days. So I know you probably want it now, but some things are good when it just you have that story being told, and we have all those layers.
I just think from a business standpoint, they're going to sell a hell of a lot more T-shirts if they make Cody and Roman 4 or 5 months out.
Dude, I already got my Cody T-shirt. I don't know what I'm going to wear if that match happens at SummerSlam. I don't know if I'm going to be acknowledging.
Did you order one of the WWE ones?
Yeah.
Like one of his new.
Yeah.
Wow.
Already got it. No discount code or anything from Cody. I went full 30 whatever bucks with the shipping. So
it's ass, isn't it? I know.
I'm in.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Call it a bold take. I think the world has acknowledged Reigns. Got to roll with the new motto. More and more people are joining the hype train. Well, he is transitioning. He went from acknowledge me is just always going to be that backbone, right? Like we're still smelling what the Rock's cooking, and we know it's the bottom line because Stone Cold said it. I think that's going to be Reigns' acknowledge me shtick. But he went from that he's run the needle mover for a few months, and now he's on God, on God mode, greatness on a different level. I don't like the shirt because mode's at the bottom. It should just say God mode, and you could do G.O.D. But
with his logo, like the Roman Reigns emblem.
Yeah, make that the O in God mode or something like that. Come on, pay me to make these shirts. Jeez.
Yeah, there's something that you could do on the side. You already got plenty going on though, in your world. You're a busy man over there. I don't know if you could, but then again, you would probably drop some things if you were working for the WWE. That would,
I don't know if I would have to be a JV baseball coach if WWE needs part-time remote work. I think we could make some adjustments, but
yeah. One last thing, going off of Ryan's comment here with the Roman Reigns stuff is. A lot of people now are acknowledging Roman Reigns, and they are a fan of his work because of this new character and presentation and him holding the belt for this long. But I just want to say that like he's had this in him the entire time he's been in WWE. It's just he was never given that ball. He was never given this gimmick. He was a heel when he started in NXT. It was always there, the in-ring ability, him being the big guy in the Shield, the muscle. It's just for so long we got this boring, stale character of Roman Reigns where people thought he sucked. He never sucked. He just was never able to be himself.
Yep, I agree. And I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm still into it. We're going on year 2 with Roman with the titles, and I'm still here with it. Yeah, it doesn't feel old quite yet or stale. So.
One last comment here, also from Ryan Matthews. It'll eventually add shock value when someone unexpected dethrones Roman. Yes, that is very true. The moment he loses, it's going to be like when the Undertaker lost his streak. Like, where were you when Roman Reigns lost the title?
I agree. And I like his comment kind of points to, I don't know that it comes off of one of these over-marketed super billboard matches either. It could be a sneaky B pay-per-view too. I don't know. That's always the allure, right? When is it going to happen? What'll it look like? I don't know.
Yeah, we will find out whether that's this year, next year, 3 years. Who knows? Roman Reigns could be the champion for the rest of eternity and just beat Bruno Sammartino's record. And we'll be here on episode 250 acknowledging Roman Reigns. I could see Butch beating Roman Reigns. I can't tell if that's serious or sarcasm.
Yes, I don't know either. I don't know that I can right now. So the Brooklyn Joker might have some glasses that do a much better job of seeing down the line than I do.
If it was Pete Dunne, maybe if you presented us Pete Dunne and not Butch.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm not sure. But that we're gonna have to clip it because Brooklyn Joker could be right. He shot a shot early, and we know that Pete Dunne is capable of it. Is Butch capable of it? And Ryan Matthews picking Kevin Owens to dethrone. Find a dude that's hotter right now. Kevin Owens has done well for himself in trying to figure it out.
Or is it an AEW guy that contract is expiring at the end of the year named Jon Moxley, and he decides to come back and dethrone Roman Reigns? That, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen, but just throwing it out there is fun.
Don't say it's not going to happen. Money.
It's not going to happen.
Money changes.
Moxley ain't going back to WWE.
I don't know. Wait, did you think Cody was going to come back? Did you think when Cody was dragging Triple H, when Cody struck the throne with the sledgehammer, you're like, I can't wait to see him back in WWE in 3 years? Nope.
But like, I view Moxley's Moxley. He's not Dean Ambrose. Like, that's Moxley. That's the one guy.
My argument for that is like, he's down for everything now in Bloodsport and hardcore matches. And is he always going to be down for that as he gets older? I don't know. Work smarter, not harder as you get older.
Yeah. His daughter gets older and stuff like that. And then he just goes and catches the bag. And, you know, have you guys read this book? Mox is a lot against WWE. It'd take a lot of cash. No, I have not read his book. Did you read his book yet?
No, I haven't read it yet. I have. I've got to read Mick Foley's "Have a Nice Day" before May 1st.
I was going to say that's coming up, right? You're going to see Mick a couple weeks.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Nice. So we're at that point of the show, episode 89, where we are going to award our most valuable mark, as Ryan Matthews corrects. The book's name is Mox. That's why the wording was weird. Gotcha. That makes more sense. And Ovi didn't show up, so obviously we're going to be having a new MVM and Tuck. From start to finish, we've had one man in here, and I think we're going to make him a new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. He is the OTM pay-per-view champion, Ryan Matthews.
There we go.
Second win for him there, right?
Still haven't mailed the first belt, so he's going to get 2 when he gets it now. So I need to have like an office day where I just mail out all this stuff. Should probably try to do my taxes before next week.
So yeah, you should probably do that. I've done that, and I still haven't got mine, so I don't know what's going on.
Great.
But yeah, Ryan Matthews, I can't wait for the tweet afterwards. Maybe he'll throw some more shade at Bogus being bogus because he just won his second MVM. I love that feud. It's kind of one-sided, as Bogus hasn't really acknowledged Ryan Matthews. And he said, bring it to the Allstate, Tuck.
I'll forget. But I like that idea. If we say bring it to the Allstate, that'll, because if I'm correct, he doesn't have his Hell in a Cell ticket yet. So the only way you get these decals is if you get a Hell in a Cell ticket. We'll see you there.
Alrighty. So congrats to Ryan Matthews, not only winning the OTM pay-per-view champion this past week, but he is the new most valuable mark of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. So Tucky, that's all I got for him this week. Why don't you send us home?
Hey, in less than a week, part of the crew will be back for episode 90. Episode 89 was the year I was born, so that's why.
Good point, Brooklyn Joker.
Maybe Ryan Matthews could beat Roman Reigns. I would love to see that. I'm not sure if Brooklyn Joker has ever seen a picture of Ryan Matthews, but Ryan Matthews and Roman Reigns are different styles of wrestlers, I would say. Ryan Matthews is going to have to utilize a few high spots and maybe work a knee for about 17, 18 hours on Roman Reigns to try to get him down.
Hey,
that
shout
would be
out to
fun.
the Brooklyn Joker, though, for being a new listener to the show. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. We have a community here. We want to talk. We want to chat. And for someone like the Brooklyn Joker to pop in, we had another one, Don, right? The Don, Joe Smith, the Don popping in, throwing in a couple comments. So as always, we enjoy interaction.
I'm assuming he means WWE 2K2. I think he means WWE.
Well, that's weird. I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe his My Player in 2K is going to.
Alluding to. Yeah.
Great. Maybe someday. So until next week, follow us at Pot on the Mark on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Go over to YouTube, follow the Overtime Sports Network, and follow the Overtime Sports Network at _OTSN. And have yourself a hell of a week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.